Hi, I'm Cher Kaufman. If you've been coloring with colored pencils, you probably have heard about baby oil as a blending agent. Well, there are some benefits and some challenges that go with that, and it's important that you know each. Benefits are that it does soften a look and it does help to blend your colored pencils together. It's inexpensive and easy to find. And it also works well with oil and wax-based pencils. However, it does have some challenges to consider. There's a real high risk of using too much, so you have to watch because it will seep into the paper. Therefore, baby oil is not necessarily recommended for beginners. You do need to have some experience of patience and pressure control. There are some better blending agents and some solvents, and you can check out a video that I've done with Gamsol and colored pencils as another option. But if you do decide to experiment with baby oil, there are a few things to consider. One is do not use thin paper. The baby oil will just go into the paper too quickly and you'll end up with a greasy mark on your paper, and that's not something that you want after many hours of coloring. So you want to consider thicker paper. I like to use a 110-pound cardstock or a 98-pound mixed media paper or heavier than that. You want to use the heavier cardstock and not necessarily the 65-pound cardstock that you will find in most stores. There are two methods that you can use with baby oil. The direct contact method, which uses your pencil directly with baby oil, and using a brush. I will demonstrate both so that you can see what they both look like. I've put a little bit of baby oil already in a little bit of a plastic cap. You'll notice that there's very, very little in here. You will not need a lot of baby oil. With the direct contact method, you will take your pencil and you will dip it just barely into the oil. And you'll notice that there is barely any on the pencil. I don't want a bunch on here because it will go into the paper. So I'm going to just begin to start coloring. And you'll notice that immediately, it's not due to my pressure, but it's really the baby oil that is beginning to soften and bring down the wax on this colored pencil very quickly, and it creates a rich look. I'm doing small little circles. I'm going to dip the pencil in just barely on the tip. I'm going to overlap my red and my orange here so they can begin to move together. And I'm doing little circles so that I can take whatever oil is on the paper and begin to move it upward. I'm going to go back into my other color, begin to smooth that out. I like to work fairly quickly when I'm working with solvents. That way I'm taking advantage of any liquid form that's taking place there so that it doesn't dry out too quickly. At some point you might start to begin to notice that the wax pencils, it's almost they begin to slide on top of each other, and it's kind of an indication that you're kind of reaching the end of what these pencils can do. So when I'm done with my pencils here, I always like to take a little bit of a paper towel and wipe off any oil that could be still on the tips of my pencils. I don't want to leave any solvents on any of my tools. The method that uses a brush technique, you want to be as close to blended as possible with your colored pencils. So this base layer that I have here is actually a little thinner than I would like it to have using a brush technique. I would like it to be a little bit thicker, so I'm going to add a little bit more pencil. And then I'm going to take my brush, I'm going to dip it in, and then I'm going to dab off any extra. There's a little bit on the brush, but it's not wet. It's really a damp brush. And then I'm going to do like a massaging technique where I'm just going to do little circles, and I'm going to begin to move from one color into the other. Don't allow baby oil to go outside of the colored pencil area or you'll end up with an oil ring. And you'll notice that the brush technique actually goes quite a bit faster as long as you have your base layer down. This will work with oil-based pencils and also inexpensive pencils. So it doesn't matter the grade of your pencils if you're going to be using baby oil. Really what the technique is that you have to be mindful of having a little bit of patience and not using a whole bunch too soon. And also pressure control. You don't want to push down. You don't want to add too much and you don't want to push too much. There's really a gliding process that happens with baby oil. Now it's your turn. Find your style. Have fun.